Marcus Alden sat in the school auditorium, the hard plastic chair pressing uncomfortably against his back. The familiar scent of floor polish and perfume hung in the air as parents and teachers assembled for the annual awards ceremony. Marcus checked his watch, 6:58 p.m. His daughter, Hallie, would be backstage now, probably adjusting her speech card for the 10th time. His wife, Liana, shifted beside him, crossing her legs and sighing loudly. 2 rows ahead, Marcus spotted Principal Stokes nodding respectfully in his direction. Marcus returned the gesture with a small smile. "Mother, over here," Liana called out, waving to the woman making her way down the aisle. Jeanette Calloway approached with the confident stride of someone who believed the world existed to serve her. Her pearl necklace caught the light as she settled into the seat Liana had saved. "The ceremony has not started yet. Why do they always run late at this school?" Jeanette's voice carried just enough to make nearby parents turn. Marcus leaned forward. "Good evening, Jeanette." "Marcus." She acknowledged him with a thin smile that never reached her eyes. "Crowded in here. I suppose everyone's parents come to these things." The unspoken addendum, "unlike your parents," hung in the air. Marcus let it pass. As he always did. 20 years of Jeanette's subtle digs about his foster care background had built his immunity. "They re-announcing the academic honors tonight," Marcus said instead. "Hallie's worked hard." Liana adjusted her blouse, her wedding ring catching the light. "She'll probably place well. Not first, but well." The curtains parted, and Principal Stokes stepped up to the microphone. The ceremony began with the presentation of certificates for various achievements: sports, community service, performing arts. Eventually, they reached academic excellence. "And now we come to our academic honor awards," Principal Stokes announced. "These students have demonstrated exceptional commitment to their studies." Liana leaned toward her mother, lowering her voice, but not enough for Marcus to miss her words. "She's just like her dad. Always second place." Marcus's chest tightened. He kept his face neutral, a skill perfected through years of business negotiations. Jeanette laughed quietly. "At least she got your looks." Marcus watched as the students filed onto the stage. Hallie appeared, her dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, her posture straight, but her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her blazer. She looked nervous. "And now, I'd like to invite this year's valedictorian to say a few words," Principal Stokes said. Hallie stepped forward, her voice catching slightly as she began. "Thank you, Principal Stokes. I am honored to stand before you as this year's valedictorian." A moment of silence fell over the room. Marcus felt his heart swell with pride, even as surprise registered. Liana went still beside him. Jeanette's polite applause faltered. "I want to thank everyone who helped me reach this achievement," Hallie continued, her voice growing stronger. "Especially my father, who taught me that persistence matters more than natural talent." Marcus felt a lump form in his throat. Around him, parents and teachers broke into enthusiastic applause. He caught Principal Stokes nodding approvingly. Liana sat rigid, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, a forced smile plastered on her face. Jeanette's mouth had formed a perfect, disapproving O. When Hallie finished her brief speech and returned to her seat, Marcus watched her the entire way, his pride evident. When he finally turned to congratulate his wife on their daughter's achievement, he found Liana staring at her phone, her fingers typing rapidly. The drive home was quiet. Too quiet. Liana stared out the passenger window while Hallie sat in the back, still riding the high of her achievement. "Dad, can we stop for ice cream?" Hallie asked as they approached their suburban neighborhood. "Of course," Marcus agreed, glancing at Liana. "Want anything?" "No," Liana replied curtly. "I have papers to grade tonight." At the ice cream shop, Marcus and Hallie sat at a small table outside, the evening air still warm with late spring. "You never told me you were valedictorian," Marcus said, watching his daughter carefully. Hallie shrugged, digging her spoon into chocolate fudge. "I wanted it to be a surprise." She hesitated. And I was not sure how Mom would react." Marcus set his spoon down. "What do you mean?" Hallie's eyes dropped to her ice cream. "She told Mrs. Blake last week that I was solid middle of the pack." I heard her when I was dropping off some books at the teacher's lounge. Marcus felt that familiar tightness in his chest again. Your mom sometimes says things without thinking. She knew exactly what she was saying, Dad. Hallie's voice was quiet but firm. Just like tonight. I heard what she said to Grandma. Marcus reached across the table, covering Hallie's hand with his own. Never let a jealous person rewrite your worth. Hallie's eyes filled with tears. Even if it's her mother, especially then, Marcus said gently. You earned valedictorian through hard work. Nobody can take that away from you. When they arrived home, Liana was in their bedroom with the door closed. Marcus could hear her voice, low and irritated, presumably on the phone. Hallie went to her room while Marcus stood in the hallway, listening. No, I see a not talk now. Yes, it was a complete surprise. I know I said she was not that bright, but apparently, Marcus knocked sharply on the door. The call ended abruptly. Come in, Liana called. Marcus entered to find his wife sitting on their bed, grading papers with exaggerated focus. We need to talk about what happened tonight, he said. Liana did not look up. What about it? Our daughter did well. Congratulations to us. I heard what you said to your mother. Hallie heard it too. Liana's red pen paused mid-mark. I was joking. You know how Mom and I talk. That was not a joke. That was cruelty. Liana finally looked up, her eyes narrowing. Do not be dramatic, Marcus. Hallie needs to toughen up if she's going to survive in the real world. She's 17. And you her mother. If she not count on your support, whose support can she count on? Liana stood, gathering her papers. I support her plenty. I am just not blind to her limitations like you are. What limitations? She's valedictorian. And you reacting like she cured cancer. Liana moved toward the door. I need to finish these grades in my office. As she brushed past him, Marcus caught a whiff of unfamiliar cologne. Not his. Something spicier, younger. The kind of scent a man might wear to the gym. That night, he lay awake long after Liana had returned to bed and fallen asleep. Something was wrong, something beyond Liana's usual cold demeanor toward their daughter. The cologne, the secretive phone call, the way she'd been checking her phone constantly during the ceremony. Marcus stared at the ceiling, piecing together fragments from the last few months, Liana's late nights at department meetings, the weekends away for professional development, her new workout routine that always seemed to coincide with after-school hours. A suspicion began to form, dark and insidious. The next morning, Marcus rose early, leaving Liana still asleep. Saturday meant she'd sleep until at least 9, a routine as predictable as the sunrise. He made coffee and toast for Hallie, who joined him in the kitchen at 7, already dressed for her weekend job at the local bookstore. Big plans today? Hallie asked, spreading peanut butter on her toast. Just some yard work. Maybe help Silas with that transmission he's rebuilding. Hallie nodded, her eyes still carrying yesterday's hurt. Dad, do you think Mom hates me? The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. No, sweetie. Your mom does not hate you. Then why does she always seem disappointed in me? Marcus chose his words carefully. Sometimes people project their own insecurities onto others. Your mom, she had very demanding parents. Nothing was ever good enough. So she's doing the same to me. I think she does not know how to stop the cycle. Marcus sipped his coffee. But that does not make it right. After Hallie left for work, Marcus wandered into the bedroom. Liana's purse sat on her dresser, the expensive one Jeanette had given her for Christmas. Something compelled him to look inside. He hesitated, his hand hovering over the leather bag. In 17 years of marriage, he had never invaded Liana's privacy this way. But the cologne, the secretive calls, the emotional distance, it all pointed to something he needed to confirm or dismiss. Inside, beneath her wallet and makeup bag, he found a receipt. The Golden Oak Hotel. Dated 2 weekends ago. Room service for 2. Champagne, strawberries, breakfast. The same weekend Liana had attended what she called an intensive curriculum workshop in Harrisburg. Marcus replaced everything exactly as he found it, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. He was not a man given to impulsive responses. If his suspicions were correct, and the evidence was mounting, he needed to be strategic. He pulled out his phone and texted Silas, "Free for a beer tonight?" The response came quickly, always. "Murphy, S at 8. Perfect. Need to talk." Monday morning arrived with rain pattering softly against the windows. Marcus drove Hallie to school, watching her as she gathered her backpack and umbrella. "Want me to drop you at the front door?" he asked. "No thanks. I am meeting Zoe to go over our physics lab." She hesitated. "Do you think Mom will be at the faculty meeting this morning?" "Probably." "Why?" Hallie shrugged. "No reason. See you tonight." Marcus watched her hurry toward the entrance, the rain darkening her hair. Something in her question lingered in his mind. Impulsively, he parked the car instead of driving away. The school was mostly empty this early. Marcus knew where Liana's classroom was, room 212, second floor, English department. He had helped her move in years ago, carrying boxes of books up the stairs while she directed everything like a stage manager. He climbed the stairs silently, nodding to a custodian who recognized him. The hallway was quiet, except for a few early students at their lockers. As he approached room 212, he heard Liana's laugh, not the polite chuckle she used at home, but a genuine, flirtatious sound he had not heard in years. The classroom door was cracked open. Marcus stood to the side, listening. "You see, not keep looking at me like that," Liana was saying, her voice playful. "Like what?" A male voice replied, confident, younger sounding. "Like you remembering Saturday. Hard not to. The thing you did with show. Anyone could walk in. Relax. It's too early for students. And your husband drops Hallie off and goes straight to work. Always has, always will. Predictable as a clock." Marcus felt ice settle in his veins. The gymnasium was just down the hall. Dorian Blake. The physical education teacher Liana had mentioned with increasing frequency over the past year. "Dorian, we need to be careful. Harris is already suspicious. He asked me why I missed the actual curriculum workshop." "What did you tell him?" "That I had a migraine and stayed in my hotel room." He did not question it. Smart woman. The sound of movement. "Goodness, I love how you taste in the morning." Marcus stepped back, his face expressionless. He had heard enough. He walked away quietly, down the stairs, out to his car. Once inside, he sat motionless, rain drumming on the roof. His conversation with Silas from Saturday night played in his head. "I think Liana is having an affair." Silas had nodded slowly, not looking surprised. "How sure are you?" "Not 100%, but close." "What are you going to do?" "Nothing yet." "Nothing." Silas had raised an eyebrow. "That does not sound like you." "I am going to watch." "Listen. Document. I need to know exactly what I am dealing with before I make any moves. And if you confirm it." Marcus had taken a long pull of his beer before answering. "Then I'll make sure she loses everything she values." Now, sitting in his car with the rain pouring down, Marcus took out his phone and made a voice memo. April 27th. 7:15 a.m. Overheard Liana and Dorian Blake discussing their affair in classroom 212. Reference to their meeting on Saturday. Confirmed Harris Stokes is unaware of their relationship. He started the car and drove to work, his face calm, his mind already plotting his next move. That evening, dinner was a tense affair. Liana moved around the kitchen with nervous energy, checking her phone each time it buzzed. "Department meeting run long?" Marcus asked casually, setting the table. "What?" "Oh, yes. End-of-year assessments." She did not meet his eyes. "How was your day?" "Productive. The Johnson project is finally wrapping up." Hallie appeared in the doorway. "Can Zoe stay for dinner?" We're still working on our lab report." "Of course," Marcus answered before Liana could speak. "I made plenty." Liana's mouth tightened, but she nodded. Fine. But homework is done by 9. Understood. Throughout dinner, Marcus noticed how Liana barely engaged with their daughter or a friend. Her attention remained fixed on her phone, which she kept beside her plate, despite her own strict rule, no phones at dinner. After Zoe left and Hallie went to her room, Marcus confronted Liana in the kitchen. You were not very present tonight. Liana rinsed a plate with unnecessary force. I am tired, Marcus. End of the school year is always stressful. I imagine sneaking around with Dorian Blake adds to that stress. The plate slipped from Liana's hands, clattering in the sink but not breaking. She turned slowly, her face a mask of indignation. Excuse me. You heard me. Liana crossed her arms. I do not know what you talking about. Room service for 2 at the Golden Oak. The way you check your phone constantly. The cologne on your clothes. Marcus kept his voice level. I am not stupid, Liana. For a moment, fear flashed in her eyes. Then, calculation replaced it. You being paranoid. Dorian is a colleague. Yes, we working on the athletic literature program together, which means sometimes we have meetings. The room service was for me and Janet from the science department. We were comparing curricula. Marcus nodded, as if considering this. Interesting. Because I called the Golden Oak. They have no record of a Janet staying there that weekend. It was a bluff. He had made no such call. But Liana's momentary panic told him everything. I never said she stayed there. She came to my room for dinner. Her recovery was quick. Stop interrogating me like I am one of your employees. Marcus, I am your wife. Are you? He asked, turning to leave the kitchen. Because wives typically do not sleep with their co-workers. You have no proof of anything. Liana called after him, her voice tight with anger and fear. Marcus paused at the doorway, not turning around. Not yet. The mechanic shop smelled of oil and metal, familiar and grounding to Marcus. Silas wiped his hands on a rag, leaning against a partially dismantled engine. So you confronted her? Silas said, shaking his head. Not the approach I would taken. Marcus handed him a black coffee. I did not show all my cards. Just enough to let her know I am not blind. And now she'll be more careful. Possibly delete evidence. She already has been. I installed tracking software on her phone last night. Silas raised an eyebrow. Legal. My name's on the account. And I am not using it to blackmail or threaten, just to gather information. For what purpose, exactly? Divorce, Marcus said, sipping his coffee. He paused, then added, possibly. But not just that. I want her to face consequences. Real ones. The kind that leave a mark. Silas nodded slowly. You know I've got your back, whatever you decide. But do not go nuclear too fast. Build your case carefully. That's exactly what I intend to do. Marcus set down his cup. I need to record everything. Every conversation. Every lie. Every meeting with Dorian. And what about Hallie in all this? Marcus's face softened at the mention of his daughter. She's my priority. Everything I do is to protect her. She's 17, Marcus. Old enough to understand what's happening. But young enough to be scarred by it. I know. That's why I need to handle this right. Clean. Decisive. With minimal collateral damage. Back at home, Marcus set up his home office as a command center. On his computer, he created a secure folder labeled backup files that would appear harmless to anyone else. Inside, he began documenting everything, dates, times, conversations, inconsistencies in Liana's stories. That evening, his phone alerted him to a call on Liana's device. He put in his earbuds and listened. He knows something, Liana's voice said, tense and hushed. How much? Dorian asked. I am not sure. He mentioned the hotel, and your cologne. Did he say he had proof? No. But he's not stupid. Marcus notices details. It's what makes him good at his job. So what now? Do we cool things off? A pause. Temporarily. Just until the school year ends. Once summer break starts, we'll have more freedom. What about my place? Kendra's taking the kids to her sister's next weekend. Too risky. Marcus never used to check my phone, but now I think he might. You being paranoid. He's too controlled to make a scene. You do not know him like I do. He's quiet, but when he feels betrayed, he's ruthless. What's the worst he could do? Divorce you. You get half of everything plus alimony. It's not about money, Dorian. Liana's voice hardened. It's about Hallie. If he proves I've been unfaithful, he could get full custody. Would that be so bad? You always said she's more his child than yours. Silence. I need to go. We'll talk tomorrow. Marcus saved the recording, his face unreadable. So Liana was concerned about custody. That was useful information. And Dorian clearly did not understand what Marcus was capable of when it came to protecting what mattered most. He picked up his phone and dialed. Harris, it's Marcus Alden. I was wondering if you and Leslie might like to join us for dinner next Saturday. A pause. Great. And feel free to invite others from the faculty. I'd like to get to know Liana's colleagues better. Marcus moved around the kitchen with practiced efficiency, checking the roast, stirring the sauce, adjusting the seasonings. The dining table was set with precision. Candles waited to be lit. Wine was breathing on the counter. Music played softly in the background. Hallie sat at the island, chopping vegetables for the salad. Why the big dinner? She asked. Mom does not usually like entertaining. I thought it would be nice to thank her colleagues for their support of you this year, Marcus replied, his tone even. Principal Stokes has always been in your corner. And the Blakes. Hallie's knife paused mid-chop. Why invite them? Marcus glanced at his daughter. Is there a reason we should not? Hallie resumed chopping, her movements precise. No. Just wondering. Hallie, Marcus said gently, is there something you want to tell me about Coach Blake? She kept her eyes on the cutting board. There are rumors about him. About him and different female teachers. Nothing specific about Mom, just general stuff. I see. And your mother, she talks about him more than any other colleague. Marcus nodded slowly, absorbing the information. Thank you for being honest with me. Hallie looked up, her expression troubled. Dad, are you and Mom okay? Before Marcus could answer, the front door opened. I am home, Liana called out. In the kitchen, Marcus replied. Liana appeared, carrying shopping bags. Her eyes widened as she took in the elaborate meal prep. What's all this? Dinner party, Marcus said. Remember? The Stokes, the Blakes, and your mother are coming at 7. Color drained from Liana's face. Tonight. But I thought we discussed this for next weekend. No, it's definitely tonight. I sent everyone confirmation emails yesterday. Marcus turned to check his phone. See. All confirmed. Liana set down her bags, clearly rattled. I need a shower. And to change. As she hurried upstairs, Hallie gave Marcus a puzzled look. She really did not know. Marcus shrugged innocently. Must have slipped her mind. End of year stress. By 7, the house was transformed. Everything gleamed. The scent of rosemary and garlic drifted from the oven. The air was charged with expectation. Marcus greeted Harris and Leslie Stokes at the door. His handshake was firm, his smile warm. Jeanette arrived next, her critical gaze sweeping the house like a monarch inspecting a minor province. Lovely dinner party, Marcus, she said, her tone suggesting she was surprised he could manage such a thing. Where's my daughter? Still getting ready. She's had a busy day. The doorbell rang again. Marcus opened it to find Dorian and Kendra Blake. Dorian's confident smile faltered slightly upon seeing Marcus. Kendra's eyes missed nothing. Welcome, Marcus said warmly. Please come in. Liana will be down shortly. In the living room, conversations flowed with ease. Marcus played the perfect host, attentive, gracious, composed. When Liana finally descended the stairs, her hair still slightly damp, her makeup hastily applied, all eyes turned to her. Sorry for the delay, she said with a bright but forced smile. End of year grading. We understand, Harris nodded. It's a demanding time. Throughout dinner, Marcus observed the subtle cues, how Liana and Dorian avoided eye contact, how their hands recoiled when they accidentally brushed, how Liana tensed every time Dorian addressed Marcus directly. So, Dorian, Marcus said during dessert, Liana mentioned you redeveloping a new athletic literature program. Sounds fascinating. Dorian cleared his throat. Yes, it's about incorporating sports memoirs into the English curriculum. Liana's been working late on it quite often. Must be quite the undertaking. Kendra's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Really? Dorian has not mentioned working late. An awkward silence settled over the table. It's mostly been during planning periods, Liana added quickly, and email exchanges. Those late-night emails, Marcus said with a nod. Technology makes collaboration so convenient these days, does not it? Harris raised his glass. Speaking of collaboration, I'd like to toast Marcus and Liana for raising such an exceptional young woman. Hallie's valedictory speech was one of the finest I've heard in my 20 years as principal. Everyone raised their glasses, even as Jeanette's smile tightened and Liana's hand trembled slightly. Later, as the guests began to leave, Marcus deliberately cornered Dorian near the coat closet. Enjoy the evening? Marcus asked pleasantly. Yes, thank you for having us. Dorian's usual swagger was absent. I've been meaning to ask, Hallie mentioned you might need a reference for that summer coaching position at Pine Valley Camp. I'd be happy to put in a word. Confusion flickered across Dorian's face. I am not applying for, oh, my mistake. Must have misunderstood. Marcus smiled, lowering his voice. Easy to misunderstand things, is not it? Like appropriate boundaries between co-workers. Dorian's face hardened. I am not sure what you implying. I am not implying anything. Just making conversation. Marcus handed him his coat. Drive safely. Roads can be treacherous when you do not see what's coming. As the front door closed behind the last guest, Liana rounded on Marcus. What was that about? What was what about? Marcus asked calmly, collecting wine glasses. That whole dinner. The pointed questions, the references to late nights, just taking an interest in your work, Liana. Is not that what supportive husbands do? Liana's eyes narrowed. You blindsided me with this dinner. You said it was next weekend. Did I? Must have been a misunderstanding, Marcus said evenly. Like you misunderstanding your wedding vows. Liana stepped closer, her voice a sharp whisper. You have no proof of anything. Yet here you are, defending yourself against accusations I have not even made. Their standoff was interrupted by Hallie's voice from the stairs. Is everyone gone? Liana straightened, masking her expression. Yes, honey. It was a lovely evening. Marcus watched her retreat to the bedroom, her shoulders rigid. His trap was set. Now, he just needed to wait for the next mistake. Rain pelted against the windows of Marcus's home office as he reviewed financial documents, joint accounts, retirement funds, property holdings. Everything needed to be documented before any legal moves were made. He had been methodical in his preparations, even seeking the advice of a discreet attorney without Liana's knowledge. A knock at the door interrupted his concentration. Hallie stood there, pale, her tablet clutched tightly to her chest. Dad, can I talk to you? Marcus immediately closed his laptop. Of course. What's wrong? Hallie entered, shutting the door behind her. She sat in the chair opposite his desk, her knuckles white around the edges of her tablet. I found something. I was not snooping, I swear. I needed to use Mom's tablet for research because mine is not working right. And she said I could. It's okay, Marcus reassured her. What did you find? Hallie hesitated, then turned the tablet around. On the screen was an open messaging app, one Marcus had not known Liana used. The conversation was with Dorian, and it left nothing to the imagination. Marcus took the tablet, scrolling through messages that confirmed everything. Explicit exchanges. Plans for meetings. Complaints about their spouses. But what hit hardest were the messages about him. He's so clueless. Thinks everything is fine as long as his precious software projects are on track. The dinner was a power play. He suspects something. He can suspect all he wants. He has no backbone for confrontation. Never has. What about Hallie? Marcus turned her against me years ago. She's just like him. Boring. Judgmental. Always has to be right. The timestamps showed the conversation continued even during their family dinner the previous weekend. Marcus looked up to find Hallie watching him, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. She talks about you like you nothing, Hallie whispered. And me too. Marcus set the tablet down and knelt beside his daughter's chair. Listen to me. What your mother says and does, it's about her. Not us. It reflects her character. Not our worth. How long have you known? Hallie asked. I've suspected for a while. This confirms it. What are you going to do? Marcus's jaw tightened. She would not get away with it. I promise you that. Hallie wiped her tears with her sleeve. I saved screenshots. I thought you might need them. You should not have to deal with this. I am sorry. Do not apologize. You did not do anything wrong. Hallie sat straighter. I want to help. Whatever you replanning, I want to be part of it. Marcus looked at his daughter, not the child he protected for so many years, but the strong young woman she become. All right. But we do this smart. Not angry. Can you send those screenshots to my email? Hallie nodded. Already did. That night, as Liana slept beside him, Marcus lay awake, his mind racing. The plan he'd been slowly assembling now needed acceleration. Hallie's discovery changed not only the timeline, but the stakes. His daughter had seen her mother's true face. There was no going back from that. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. Silas, you still up? Need to talk. Important. Marcus slipped out of bed and went downstairs. He dialed Silas, keeping his voice low. What's going on? I just got a call from Kendra Blake, Silas said. Marcus frowned. Dorian's wife. How does she have your number? She does not. She called the shop asking for you. Figured you might be there. Said she tried your cell but it went to voicemail. What did she want? To meet. Said she knows about Liana and Dorian, and has information you might want. She suggested coffee tomorrow. Somewhere private. Marcus considered this unexpected turn. Did she sound upset? Surprisingly calm. Calculated, even, like she's been waiting for this opportunity. Text me her number. I'll arrange something. After hanging up, Marcus checked his missed calls. Sure enough, there was one from an unknown number. He texted the number. This is Marcus Alden. I understand you want to meet. The response came quickly. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Carter's Coffee on Elm. Come alone. Carter's Coffee was nearly empty at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, and soft jazz played through the speakers. Marcus spotted Kendra Blake immediately. She sat in the far corner, facing the door, a laptop open in front of her. Her posture was composed, her expression unreadable. He ordered a black coffee and approached her table. Mrs. Blake, he said quietly. Mr. Alden. Thank you for coming. She gestured to the seat opposite her. And please, call me Kendra. Marcus sat down, studying her face. Sharp cheekbones, intelligent eyes, a no-nonsense haircut. She looked like someone who already made up her mind about a lot of things. Your friend said you have information, Marcus began. Kendra closed her laptop. Before we begin, I need to know your intentions regarding Liana. My intentions? Are you planning to divorce her? Forgive her? Try counseling. Her gaze never wavered. Because what I share with you depends on your answer. Marcus paused, then answered calmly. I am gathering information. When I have enough, I'll make decisions that protect my daughter and myself. Reconciliation is not on the table. Kendra nodded once, satisfied. Good. Because this is not Dorian's first affair. And Liana is not as innocent as she may have portrayed herself. She opened her laptop again, turning it toward him. 3 years ago, Dorian had an affair with Janet Myers from the science department. I have emails. She clicked through the file. 2 years before that, it was a parent volunteer. Marcus scanned the messages. The pattern was familiar: secret rendezvous, careless flattery, lies told with confidence. And Liana? He asked, keeping his voice steady. That's where it gets interesting, Kendra said. She opened another file. Liana had an affair with Alan Reeves, the gym teacher before Dorian. I found these emails when checking Dorian's inbox, she wrote to Alan from her personal account. Did not realize Alan had forwarded some of them to Dorian before leaving. Marcus read through the emails, his stomach tightening. The tone, the flirtation, the familiarity, it predated Dorian by years. Why are you showing me this? Because I am tired of being made a fool of, Kendra said coolly. And I suspect you are too. Marcus sat back. You stayed with him all this time. For the kids. But they older now. I been documenting everything. Preparing. Waiting for the right moment. And you think this is it? I think together, we can ensure they both face consequences. She's a serial liar, Kendra continued. Take her down. Her directness surprised him, no tears, no drama. Just purpose. Strategy. Marcus nodded slowly. What do you propose? A coordinated approach. If we file for divorce simultaneously, citing their affair, neither can claim it was a one-time mistake or a recent lapse. We share evidence. Strengthen both our cases. For what purpose? Pennsylvania, a no-fault divorce state. Yes, Kendra agreed. But custody, property division, alimony, character still matters. And if their behavior has impacted their jobs? You talking about the school. There's a morality clause in the district's contract. Affairs between staff, especially with one in a senior position, grounds for termination. Marcus exhaled, seeing the full picture now. How much evidence do you have? Enough. But I am guessing you have more. I do, he said. Recordings, emails, even their own messages about lying to Principal Stokes. Kendra extended her hand across the table. Partners, then. Marcus shook it, sealing the alliance. Partners. The following weeks passed in a blur of strategic preparation. Marcus moved cautiously, making sure Liana noticed nothing while he positioned every piece with care. First came the financial groundwork, meeting with his attorney, documenting all marital assets, and transferring what he legally could into protected accounts bearing only his name. Not to conceal them, but to ensure Liana could not drain their resources once the truth emerged. She'll still be entitled to half of all joint assets, the attorney reminded him. Yes, Marcus said, but with evidence of infidelity, and its impact on our daughter, we can push for a more favorable settlement. Next came the custody strategy. Marcus compiled a detailed log of Liana's emotional absence, missed school events, dismissive remarks, her disengagement. A painful contrast between her public image as a nurturing teacher and her private indifference toward Hallie. Initially reluctant, Hallie eventually agreed to write a statement. Reading it nearly broke Marcus. My mother has always made me feel like a disappointment. When I succeed, she minimizes it. When I struggle, she sees it as proof she was right to doubt me. My father is the one who lifts me up, who encourages me, who believes in me. Marcus updated his will. If anything happened to him, he wanted Hallie protected, no loopholes for Jeanette to exploit. He designated Silas as executor, trusting his friend's judgment implicitly. At home, Marcus maintained a mask of calm. He still ate dinner with Liana, discussed mundane household tasks, even accompanied her to a faculty function. There, he observed the careful ballet between her and Dorian, no touching but glances laden with meaning. Words disguised as professional dialogue. That night, Principal Stokes cornered Marcus by the refreshment table. "Good to see you, Marcus," he said, punch in hand. "How are things at home?" "Fine." "Why do you ask?" Stokes hesitated. Liana's been distracted lately. Missed a few meetings. Turned in grades late. Not like her. "End of year stress, I imagine," Marcus said smoothly. "And all that extra work on the athletic literature program." Stokes blinked. "The what?" "The curriculum she's developing with Dorian Blake. She said they've been working on it for months." "That's the first I've heard of it," Stokes said, frowning. Marcus smiled faintly. Must have misunderstood. He tucked that reaction away for later, another piece on the board. At home, while Liana showered, Marcus checked her phone. A new message from Dorian lit up the screen, "Coast clear this weekend. K's taking the kids to her mother's. Could have the house to ourselves. Friday night." Liana's reply came minutes later, "Perfect. I'll tell him I am at another curriculum workshop in Harrisburg. Same hotel as last time. Already booked, room 317. Ca not wait to taste you again." Marcus screenshot the exchange and forwarded it to a secure folder. Then, he messaged Kendra, "They re-planning a rendezvous this Friday. Room 317. Golden Oak Hotel." Her response was immediate, "I'll be ready." "Are you?" Marcus looked toward the bathroom. The water ran. Liana hummed tunelessly, the same way she had for 17 years. Yes. It's time. He thought of Hallie, graduating in just 3 weeks. Headed to Stanford in the fall. The life he'd built. The trust he'd offered. The betrayal he'd endured. She would not get away with it. Not this time. The school gymnasium had been transformed for the year-end awards banquet. Round tables draped in white linens filled the space. A raised stage bore the school's crest and colors. Students, parents, and faculty chatted while cameras flashed and programs shuffled. Marcus adjusted his tie as he took his seat at a table near the front. Hallie sat beside him, elegant in a soft blue dress, her valedictorian medal catching the lights. The seat reserved for Liana remained empty. "She's helping with the faculty presentations," Marcus said calmly. "Nervous about your speech?" he asked Hallie. She shook her head. "Not anymore. I know what I want to say." Jeanette arrived, sliding into the seat on Hallie's other side. "Where's my daughter?" she asked, glancing around. "Faculty duties," Marcus replied. "She'll join us soon." Jeanette gave the room a withering glance. "All this fuss for high school accomplishments. In my day, we saved celebrations for real achievements." Marcus saw Hallie's shoulders stiffen. He placed a hand on her arm. "Well, your granddaughter is valedictorian. That seems worth celebrating to me." "Yes, quite the surprise," Jeanette said with a cool smile. "Though I suppose even second-tier efforts get gold sometimes." Marcus's jaw tightened. Before he could reply, Principal Stokes stepped onto the stage. The ceremony began, recognitions for sports, volunteer work, academic excellence. Marcus kept an eye on the faculty section, where Liana finally appeared. Dorian sat 2 seats away, glancing at her when he thought no one noticed. During a break, Liana rejoined their table. Her smile was brittle. Her eyes flicked again and again toward the stage. "Wonderful ceremony," Marcus said. "Hallie's speech is coming up soon." "Yes, I saw the program," Liana answered, her tone distant. Jeanette leaned in. "You look tired, darling. These school events must be exhausting." "It's been a challenging year," Liana replied. "But rewarding." Jeanette patted her hand. You always push through, even when faced with limitations. Her glance at Marcus was sharp. He ignored it. He had endured 17 years of Jeanette's veiled insults. This would be the last time. Principal Stokes returned to the podium. And now, one of the highlights of our evening. Please welcome our class valedictorian, Hallie Alden. Applause filled the gym as Hallie rose and walked confidently to the stage. She stood straight, the spotlight reflecting off her medal. Thank you, Principal Stokes. Fellow students, faculty, parents, and guests, she began, voice clear. As I stand here tonight, I am reminded that success is not measured by a single moment, but by the journey. Marcus watched, his chest full. Parents leaned forward, hanging on her every word. Beside him, Liana whispered to Jeanette, she'll probably quote some obscure poet no one's heard of. Always trying to sound superior. Jeanette snorted, some people are just born average. Marcus saw heads turn. Including Principal Stokes, whose frown deepened. On stage, Hallie continued. Many of us have faced obstacles. Doubts from others, or from within. Times when we wondered if we were good enough. Smart enough. Worthy enough. She paused, letting the silence settle. I want to share something personal tonight, about belief and resilience. Throughout my life, there's been one constant source of support. One person who never doubted me. Who taught me that persistence matters more than natural talent. Liana straightened, a preemptive smile on her lips. My father, Hallie said, is the reason I ever believed I could do anything. Liana's smile froze. When others saw limits, he saw potential. When others spoke of second place, he reminded me that growth is the real victory. The rest is just noise. The gym erupted in applause. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Across the table, Jeanette had gone pale. Liana stared straight ahead, unmoving. Hallie returned to their table to a standing ovation. Principal Stokes shook her hand, beaming. Remarkable speech, he said. Truly inspiring. Thank you, Hallie replied, flushed with emotion. He turned to Marcus. You should be very proud. I am. Then Stokes' gaze shifted to Liana. His voice cooled. Liana, could I see you in my office tomorrow morning? 8 sharp. Confusion flickered across her face. Is there a problem? Just some end-of-year matters to discuss. He returned to his seat without another word. The rest of the evening passed in a daze of congratulations and photographs. Marcus noted the stiffness in Liana's smile, the tension behind her eyes. Jeanette left early, citing a headache. As they drove home, Hallie texting in the back seat, Liana finally broke the silence. That speech was inappropriate. I thought it was honest, Marcus replied. You encouraged her to humiliate me publicly. No one mentioned you. Interesting that you felt targeted by a speech about support and belief. Liana turned to the window, profile tense. Harris wants to see me tomorrow. Did you say something? About what? You know what. Marcus pulled into their driveway. Put the car in park. If you worried about consequences, maybe you should thought of them before starting an affair with a married colleague. Her head snapped toward him. Hallie had already exited the car. You have no proof. Oh, but I do, Marcus said evenly. As does Kendra Blake. The color drained from Liana's face. What have you done? Nothing yet, he said. But tomorrow will be different. The morning dawned bright and crisp, sunlight streaming through the bedroom window. Marcus had been awake for hours, finalizing every detail. Liana dressed silently, tension radiating from her as she left for her meeting with Principal Stokes. She did not say goodbye. Marcus checked his watch, 8:15 a.m. By now, Harris would be presenting her with the evidence, the messages, the emails, the fabricated workshops, the violation of the school's morality clause. His phone buzzed with a message from Kendra, it's done. Filed this morning. Judge Wilson. 9:30 hearing for temporary orders. Marcus replied, on schedule here too. Meeting my attorney at 10. He dressed deliberately, charcoal suit, white shirt, sharp tie. the attire he saved for high-stakes negotiations. Today was exactly that. Downstairs, Hallie sat at the kitchen island with a cup of tea. She looked up as he entered. "Big day," she said softly. Marcus nodded. "You do not have to be here for this part. I want to be. For you." He gave her shoulder a squeeze. "Your mother will be home soon. It will not be pleasant. I know. But I am not a child anymore, Dad. I can handle it." A car pulled into the driveway. Tires on gravel. Doors slamming. The front door opened, and Liana stormed inside, her face flushed with fury. "You coward," she snapped. "You went to Harris behind my back. You handed him lies." "I did not need to lie," Marcus said calmly. "The truth was enough. He suspended me pending investigation." "My reputation is exactly what you earned," Marcus cut in. "Actions have consequences, Liana. Today is just the beginning." He reached into his jacket and produced a thick envelope. "These are divorce papers. My attorney will file them this morning unless you agree to the terms." Her fury gave way to stunned silence. "Divorce? After 17 years, you re-throwing everything away over one mistake?" Marcus laughed bitterly. "One mistake? What about Alan Reeves? What about the parent volunteer? You and Dorian are just the latest chapter." Her face drained of color. "How did you?" "Kendra Blake. She's been documenting everything for years. Seems you and Dorian have more in common than your hotel room." The doorbell rang. "That will be your mother," Marcus said. "I asked her to join us." Hallie moved to answer the door, returning moments later with Jeanette. Her expression was confused and irritated. "What's going on, Marcus?" "I have appointments." "This will not take long," he said, gesturing for her to sit. "I wanted you here when I outlined the divorce terms." "Divorce?" Jeanette turned sharply to her daughter. "Liana. What is this?" Before she could answer, the doorbell rang again. Marcus opened it. Dorian Blake stood there, agitated. "I got a text from Liana to come here immediately. That was from me," Marcus said. Using her phone. "I wanted everyone relevant to the situation present." Dorian stepped back, but Marcus blocked the doorway with a smile. "Come in." And finally, the third chime. Hallie answered again, this time returning with Principal Stokes. His face was grave. "Thank you all for coming," Marcus began, his voice steady. He placed a folder on the kitchen island. "In this folder is evidence of a years-long affair between my wife and Dorian Blake. Texts, emails, hotel receipts, photographs, and witness statements." Dorian stepped forward. "You re-bluffing." "Room 317, Marcus said evenly. Golden Oak Hotel. Last Friday night. Kendra has the receipts and security footage. I have the texts." Dorian paled. "I am filing for divorce today," Marcus continued, "on grounds of adultery. I am seeking full custody of Hallie, with no visitation rights until she turns 18. You see not do that." Liana shouted, her voice shrill. She turned to her mother. "Mom, tell him he see not do this." But Jeanette was silent, stunned, her face hardening with realization. "Oh, I can," Marcus said. "And I will. Hallie will testify, if needed. We have more than enough." He turned to Harris Stokes. "Principal, IVE provided documentation showing how this affair has affected their work, fabricated workshop trips, missed meetings, misuse of school systems for personal communication." Stokes nodded. "The district takes these matters very seriously. Especially given the morality clause in our contract." Marcus handed an envelope to Dorian. "This copy goes to your department head. You've been terminated, effective immediately." Dorian turned ghostly white. Then Marcus turned to Jeanette. "For 17 years, IVE tolerated your contempt, your snide remarks about my background, my parenting, my marriage. That ends now." Jeanette's lip curled. "How dare you speak to me like my home?" Marcus interrupted. "My name's on the deed. And as of this morning, your standing invitation is revoked. You no longer welcome here. He leaned forward, voice quiet but sharp. You underestimated the quiet one. That was your mistake. The room fell into silence. Hallie stood still, calm, bearing witness. Liana's voice cracked the stillness, low and trembling. You've been planning this for months. Gathering evidence. Laying traps. Waiting. Yes, Marcus replied without apology. Just as you planned your lies. Your betrayals. What do you want from me? Begging. Groveling. I want nothing. That's the point. He placed a pen beside the divorce papers. These outline a fair split. Half of marital assets. No alimony. Sign them, and walk away with some dignity. And if I do not, then I release everything. To your colleagues. Your friends. Your professional networks. To the school board. To the university programs Hallie's applying to, just so they know who tried to sabotage their own child's future for a fling. Liana's gaze swept the room, Jeanette, stone-faced, Harris, solemn, Dorian, ashen, Hallie, calm and unmoved, and Marcus, steady and final. You destroying my life, she whispered. No, Marcus said gently. You did that yourself. I am just making sure you face it. He gestured toward the pen. Your choice. The courtroom was nearly empty, just Marcus, his attorney, Liana with her lawyer, the judge, and 2 clerks. Hallie had offered to attend, but Marcus insisted she did not need to witness this part. He wanted to shield her from the cold formality of endings. Judge Wilson reviewed the documents, flipping through pages without expression. This is quite straightforward for a 17-year marriage, she said finally, looking over her glasses. A mess. Alden, you waiving any claim to alimony? Liana nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Alden, you are seeking full legal and physical custody of your minor child, with no visitation rights granted to the mother until the child reaches the age of majority. Yes, Your Honor, Marcus answered steadily. Our daughter will be 18 in less than 3 months. She's leaving for college. This arrangement simply formalizes the reality that already exists. The judge gave them both a final look, assessing something unspoken. Under normal circumstances, I would hesitate to approve a one-sided custody agreement. But given the age of the child, the evidence provided, and the nature of the conduct involved, I am inclined to approve. She signed the decree with deliberate finality. Divorce granted. Assets to be divided per the agreement. Custody awarded to Mr. Alden, as requested. The gavel fell. It was done. Marcus did not smile. He did not speak. He only exhaled, slow and long, as if releasing 17 years in one breath. Outside the courthouse, Liana approached him in the corridor. Her lawyer stayed back, pretending to check messages. You got everything you wanted, she said. Her voice was hollow. I hope it was worth it. Marcus met her gaze. This was never about what I wanted, Liana. It was about what you earned. And humiliating me in front of the entire school. In front of our daughter. Did she deserve that? Marcus did not flinch. Hallie deserved a mother who supported her. Who lifted her up. Who did not call her boring or treat her like competition. Liana's face twisted. Will you tell her about the others? About Alan? About the things I said? No, Marcus said flatly. That's your burden. Not hers. She laughed bitterly. So noble. The perfect father. The noble husband. The man on the hill. No, Marcus said. Just the one who finally drew a line. He turned and walked away. She did not follow. She did not call out his name. The chapter was closed. Later that afternoon, Marcus sat in his home office, the quiet pressing in around him. He answered a call from Principal Stokes. I wanted you to hear it from me, Harris began. The board has terminated Liana's contract. Effective immediately. I see, Marcus said. Dorian Blake is also gone. Kendra provided corroborating evidence to the athletic department. He's been dismissed. Thank you for letting me know. There's one more thing. Jeanette Calloway tried to intervene. She contacted the board president, claimed the evidence was fabricated. Marcus stiffened. I submitted the full documentation, Harris continued. President Thompson was unimpressed. He's reevaluating her role on the donor committee. I appreciate your integrity, Harris. I appreciate the example your daughter set for our students. Stanford is lucky to have her. When the call ended, Marcus leaned back in his chair. The consequences had fallen into place. No drama. No destruction. Just accountability. His phone buzzed. Silas, court done. Need company. Marcus, yes. And yes. Bring beer. 3 months passed like a dream. The divorce was finalized. The house sold. A new beginning was quietly underway. Marcus stood in the living room of their new home, a smaller place, but filled with light and facing a park. Boxes were stacked around him, each one labeled in Hallie's precise handwriting. She had taken the lead on packing. Systematic, focused. It reminded him of how she de-organized her debate notes or studied for finals, methodical, controlled, mature beyond her years. Dad. Hallie's voice called from upstairs. Where do you want the photo albums? In the study, he answered. On the built-in shelves. Footsteps padded down the stairs, and Hallie appeared carrying a box labeled Photos, pre-2015. She set it down and opened it, revealing several albums. Wedding pictures, she said. Should we keep them? Marcus knelt beside her, lifting out the white leather-bound album. He flipped through pages. A younger version of himself grinned beside a radiant Liana. The images were frozen in time, before everything fractured. Yes, he said finally. We keep them. They re-part of our history. Part of how you came to be. Hallie nodded, visibly relieved. I was afraid you'd want to burn them or something. No need for that. What happened does not erase what was. The doorbell rang. Hallie hurried to answer it and returned with Silas, who carried a potted plant in one hand and a 6-pack of craft beer in the other. Housewarming gift, he announced, handing the plant to Hallie and the beer to Marcus. Place looks good. It's getting there, Marcus replied. Just in time for Hallie to leave us for California. 2 weeks, Hallie confirmed. But I'll be back for Thanksgiving. Silas leaned against a doorway, surveying the space. Heard anything from your ex? Marcus shook his head. Not directly. I know she's staying with Jeanette for now. Looking for teaching jobs out of state. And Dorian? Kendra said he's working part-time at a sporting goods store. Minimum wage. No benefits. Silas gave a low whistle. Karma's a patient collector. Hallie excused herself to continue unpacking, leaving the two men alone. Silas cracked open 2 beers, handing one to Marcus. You did right, he said after a long swig. Most men would have snapped. Made a scene. Punched someone. You were surgical. I had Hallie to think about. And myself. I could not let her destroy everything we built. Still, Silas said, 17 years of marriage, and it's just gone. Not gone, Marcus said quietly. Transformed. Into something else. A lesson, maybe. Always the philosopher. Silas chuckled. So what's next for Marcus Alden? Newly single, software architect, and empty nester. Work. Reading. Maybe travel, once Hallie's settled at Stanford. Well, you're still second place in our fantasy football league, Silas teased. Marcus smiled. As long as I am first in my daughter's eyes, that's enough. 2 weeks later, Marcus stood with Hallie at the airport. Her carry-on sat beside his foot, her Stanford hoodie tied around her waist. All around them, families embraced their college-bound children. Mothers cried. Fathers offered last-minute advice. Younger siblings complained or made silly faces. Got everything. Marcus asked, though they checked twice already. Laptop, charger, ID, the essentials. She smiled. I am good. And if you forgot something, Stanford has stores. I looked. I figured you did. She laughed. A boarding announcement echoed overhead, first call for Flight 274 to San Francisco. That's me, she said, suddenly looking very young. I guess this is it. Marcus pulled her into a hug, holding her tightly. This is not an ending, Hallie. It's your beginning. I am so proud of you. I am going to miss you so much. I'll be right here whenever you need me. Call me. Anytime. She pulled back, eyes misty. Mom did not show up. I know, Marcus said gently. I am sorry. I am not. Her voice was steady. It just confirms I made the right choice. Staying with you. She picked up her bag, squared her shoulders, and took a deep breath. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. More than anything. Marcus watched as she joined the boarding line. She turned once, offered a final wave and a brave smile, then disappeared down the jetway. He stood at the window, eyes on the tarmac as the plane taxied, lifted, and vanished into the sky. His daughter, his miracle, flying toward her future. Strong. Resilient. Unbroken. As he turned to leave, his phone buzzed. Silas, she off okay? Marcus typed back, yes. Proud and terrified in equal measure. But she'll be fine. Silas, she's your daughter. Marcus smiled, pocketing the phone as he walked through the terminal. Around him, life churned, travelers rushing past, intercoms droning, families laughing and crying. But inside, he was still. He had survived betrayal. He had protected what mattered. He had delivered justice, not through vengeance, but through truth. The scars remained. But they were clean scars. Earned. Outside, the summer sun warmed his face. A new chapter was beginning, not just for Hallie, but for him as well. And for the first time in years, Marcus Alden felt free.